Hello and welcome to a Zilpha fine art production. Today I'm going to show you how I created this beautiful portrait in front of me. I'm very excited to show you this. I'm going to take you through my process as to how I initially took the photo and then how I brought it into Photoshop and added all these elements to create this final piece. So first of all, let's see how the image originally looked. Here you can see the original photograph of the model here, who is 6 years old. I wanted to create a portrait that was playful, that was elegant, stylish, had a delicateness about it, but also was fitting for the appropriate age of the model in this picture. So I initially started off with a green background, which you can see here, because I thought I might cut around her in Photoshop and transfer it to an alternative background. However, as it turned out, I decided I wanted to create this lovely soft background that you can see here. So I had to do a lot of colour changing. So I'm just going to take you through that process as to how it happened, each step by step, and I'll walk you through it. So I always take a copy of it when I'm changing the colours. So I took a copy of the image and I started adjusting the colours using the adjustment colour filter here, just taking down all of this green. You can still see little flecks of green in here, but I really actually quite liked that because I thought it gave a bit of depth to the image. However, as you can see here, as I've done my change of colour, it's left a kind of rim around the edge of the model here, so I had to work on that, and there was a bit of green on the skirt that you can see here, and I didn't really want that to be on her. The other thing that I wanted to focus on was up here. I really wanted to have a sharp finish, which I should have thought about when I was creating the styling of her hair, when I was wrapping all the flowers around her hair. I should have finished this piece off just a little bit cleaner, but as you can see, it's gone a bit green as I've adjusted the colour here. So I needed to put another piece of hair in, so I just copied this piece of hair from the rest of her, dropped it in there, and I started to bring it through, try and take out the colour of the green a little bit more. I then needed to adjust her in the centre. I needed to make her a bit more centred. I needed to start thinking about how I was going to really build the image around the model. And then as you can see, from this image to this one, she was slightly off centre and I wanted to bring her in a little bit more. So I brought her in a little bit more and rotated the layer. And then I started to add some shading just to the top of this corner, because I'm thinking ahead how I want the final image to look and how I want this model to be centre in it. And I was going to build other images around it, but I just wanted to darken that area there. I then started to add the butterflies that I wanted to include in this. So because you can see a really defined shadow, because the light direction was coming in from this side, this is why you can see all this side of her body is in highlight and then this side is all in shadow. Needed to make sure that the additional images that I was bringing into this very much included shadows. So as you can see, I've just brought these butterflies in. Now I've taken these from another piece of my work, one of my earlier pieces of work, and I was able to do the colour adjustment for it as well, so that they fitted in with the overall colour scheme here. I then needed to start to add some shadows, because again, the light direction is coming from this side, and if I didn't alter the shadows on the butterfly, it wouldn't fit in well with the overall piece. Okay, and then we can see I've got another butterfly coming in up here, the shadow, and the image on top, and then again I'm adjusting shadow to this side of the wing and a bit more highlight to this side of the wing because of the directional light coming in from this side. And we have another butterfly coming in here. And again, same process, bit of highlight on the wing. And then another butterfly was going in here, so I needed to make sure that I had some shadow, a bit more of a darker shadow actually here, because it sat directly on her shoulder. And then I didn't really like the colour that I had here. I wanted to really soften it up. It was just too vivid. Colour is too saturated, so I was really taking that saturation down. And then I start to add in the bird, but before I was adding in the bird, I really wanted to add in some shadow. But I also, as you can see down here, where I've adjusted the colour, it's really affected the fabric that the model was lying on. So I wanted to pull that up and drop it under the wing of the bird, because I really wanted it not just to be a shadow, but to kind of feel like it was fabric underneath the bird's wing. So I started to pull that up, building the shadow underneath, adding in the hummingbird, and as you can see, it is so strong in colour. So I really need to take the colour down on this because it doesn't fit in with the softness that I'm trying to create. So I'm just adjusting the hummingbird again, putting the highlights in the right place, putting the shadows in the right place because the light is coming from this side. Again, some more highlights, and then just taking that saturation down so it fits in. And then again, what I did here with the painting of the shadow taken from here, the fabric, I've just done that again. I've copied some of the fabric down here and I've brought it up to her hair because I'm trying to now create the shadow for the bird cage. As you can see, it's going in. What have I also done here? I've used a filter, Gaussian filter here, just to kind of blur it out a bit because I just want the shadow to be quite soft. And then I was just adjusting the curves there just to change the colour. And I've brought the bird cage in and I've just taken the saturation out of it a little bit. I wanted to have the bird cage slightly off center. I didn't want it to come down completely straight because I wanted it to look like it was gently swinging off her hair. What I'm trying to do now is bring in some layers, some textures to add a bit more depth to the image and also to make it look really, really delicate. So there's another one coming in here above her head, trying to make sure that I've got a nice balance of colours. I've got this soft white going round and then a very, very, very soft mauve colour in here. I've adjusted the colour just to make it a little bit more pink. And then I've put these beautiful twirls in her hair, just make it a bit more playful. I've added a second one, a darker one there. So as we can see up here, I just needed to think about finishing off the border around the top, just to balance it out with what I've built around the bottom. And all of these very, very soft adjustments that I'm adding in, I photographed pictures of walls. And what I've done is I've taken and selected parts of these and brought them in to create a really soft border around the model. Again, another one just down the side here, and I've done the right border here, all just softly adding more and more texture to the overall effect of the image. And then a little swirl running underneath it there, just thought it was really beautiful. And then the final image. So all the way from taking that initial image down here of that green background, where I thought I was going to put her onto a different background, and in the end I've just softly adjusted the colour of the background and created a really, really gentle portrait with lovely textures running throughout. It's meant to be playful, it's meant to be soft, and I think it's really lovely. So hopefully you've liked this Zilpha fine art production. Give me a like if you do, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, then you can find more examples of my work